if you have something to put out to the world, nobody cares what you look like or if you have a website or if you're on social media. We're looking at what you're offering, right? And if you can get that and shake off all of those self-limiting beliefs, you'll know exactly what to do to make your business successful.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. My name's Rick Nusky. It's a wonderful day here and I really hope you're doing well in this wonderful world of ours. Speaking of wonderful, I'm on the line with REPHOEL Wolf. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I love this wonderful world idea. It definitely is a wonderful world.
Absolutely. I've been thinking about this call for a while now, thinking about mindset and dreaming big. And, you know, as an entrepreneur, I've actually gone through this same process and I'd love to, deep dive into this whole topic about letting go of the things we've had in our mind in the past that have held us back as entrepreneurs and stopped us from growing. So we're also going to be talking about your book, The Coach's Keys to Client Creation, which you have a copy of there, or at least the screenshot there. And
yes,
for
have that.
Yep, fantastic. There it is, The Coach's Keys to Client Creation. This is essentially the core of today's call. So how have you been, REPHOEL?
I've been doing fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just came from New York yesterday. I was in New York for an in-and-out trip and bumped into an old friend who told me he just got into social working. And we had a great talk about the similarities between our two worlds.
Yep.
And the differences. There wasn't so much differences other than, I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist or a social worker or anything like that. And they deal with much more severe things than I do. And what I love about that is I love the personal growth work. I love the helping people and helping people through their he as a social worker is helping people through their addictions. And I love that coaching is different in the way that we don't have to worry about the past and I think you spoke about in your introduction, the things that we've been believing until now.
Yeah.
While addiction is a real severe thing, and a lot of people do need therapy for different ideas, so many people can benefit just from coaching and the future and building regardless of what they've believed until now. If it's in their control, addiction might be out of their control, and that's where that field comes in.
I wonder, what's the difference between coaching and training? Could you define that for us?
I think you're from England, am I not?
No, I'm in
London.
in Australia.
Where
I'm down
Australia. Oh, I had a friend who's Australian, and I kept on forgetting, the accent, because sometimes it's very, very similar. So when you say training in Australia, what do you mean by training?
Well, it's going from a state of knowledge to another state of knowledge and being deemed competent. I guess it's a process that you're taken through to educate somebody to understand, and maybe in our case, what we're discussing today is think differently. Whereas coaches, for me, is about being there and actively involved in somebody's progression. Is that the way you define coaching?
It's an interesting way you're putting it. The way I'm understanding from what you're saying, those two things sound like they can overlap a lot.
Yes.
So I don't think I see a clear difference. See, in my book, and a lot of coaches wonder it, I definitely talk about the difference between coaching and therapy and just a friend, because some people might think that a coach is just a friend who gives you good advice, or some people might think that coaching is like some sort of therapist.
Yes.
And so those things I have clearly defined. And you're asking what's the difference between coaching and training. And I would say that training, coaching could be very much a type of training, because we are training people to think differently.
Yes.
Simply by introducing new ideas. So it's not so much of a training as in first you do this and then you do this. It's learning through experience a new way of being.
Yes.
When I when I speak out my thoughts with my coach, or really to anyone, this came from a great quote from Michael Neal. He said that if everybody at the end of the day would speak to a telephone pole, that would solve 80% of their problems if they did that consistently. Just speaking things out is tremendously beneficial. And the tremendous benefit of having a coach is that you're speaking out to someone who, first of all, can provide feedback, but also can provide an outside view. So if you're viewing everything in your life and in your business as working against you, or things are not working out the way you planned, then someone from an outside view could say, well, I don't really see it like that. I don't understand. Maybe you could explain it to me why this is bad. You're telling me this bad thing happened to you. What makes that bad? And that's tremendous. That's life-changing. So that is a type of training. Mm-hmm. Every time a big mindset shift, and I know this was what started me off, is that when I would think somebody outside of me affected me, let's say somebody got me upset or someone insulted me, right? And we all do this. A coach is someone who introduces the idea that really nobody can affect you, that no one can have that impact on you unless you let them. And this is a famous quote. It's been attributed to so many people. I'm just going to go with Eleanor Roosevelt as the top one off my head, that she says, nobody can get me upset without my permission.
Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, that's amazing. And that idea, it's like you sit with it, you're like, wait, what does that mean? Didn't this person clearly insult me?
Yeah, I find it's, there's so many dimensions in our everyday, in our everyday life that, we have friends, families, neighbors, relatives, all external viewpoints, perspectives that we hold. We hold them in a certain way. We value them a certain way. We believe that there is certain expectations as a two-way street in terms of how they deal with us and how we manage our interactions with them. It can become very complex. And I think given that all these dimensions, how do you, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, how do you get to clear away all those cobwebs, if you like, when you work with someone?
Absolutely, and that's a great question, because a lot of people might originally put up some resistance to working with a coach or working with someone one-on-one because of what you're saying. I can just speak to my family about this, and I could speak to my friends, and I can get a lot of different opinions. Yeah. But I love the way you call that cobwebs. That just keeps you roped in and adds confusion when you're taking in everybody's, 2 cents as part of what you're forming yourself, and then you end up with nothing. And I had a client admit this to me, that for him, he knew it after I pointed out to him that was actually just a wall that he built. Like, I don't have to go anywhere because I'll just speak to more people. And it looks like I'm doing a lot. Like, I'm working on myself because I just speak to more people. I'll get more feedback. If I want to hear something positive, I'll speak to this person. If I don't like what they say, I'll go to someone else. And that's a great way to keep yourself not growing in your business, and to sign up for every single Facebook ad that offers you the foolproof way to build your business, because that's what it's all about. It's all about the focusing and committing to one thing. And I fall prey to this also. It's so hard because just last week I did this. A client didn't show up, and I was on Facebook, and someone was starting a seminar right then. Yeah. And this was like supposed to be the best, out of all those things you don't like about all those other seminars, this one doesn't do it, and I watched it, and it was great. And now I'm getting emails from them every day. And I was like, I don't have time for this. Yes. I don't have time for your program, right? So what I tell people is that's a choice. You can go and just, get pulled every which way based on what anybody tells you. Or I help connect people with the way in their life that first of all, they want to go, but feels most natural to them. So just to give you an example, everybody has a different idea or way of how to build your business, right?
Yeah.
And like you're saying, you can speak when you go to your family meetings, your family dinners or whatever, everybody's going to have a different opinion, and everyone will also have a reason why the way you're doing it is wrong. So you're setting yourself up for disaster if you're going to take all that in. But if you know what works for you, and this is what I help people with, even if I go networking events or if I'm speaking to people just like one-off, this is the one thing you got to know. You got to find out what works best for you. So if we're talking about business, if you're not, what do they call it nowadays? If you're not, no, they don't like using social media. They're not savvy or technology savvy, and they're all stuck. They're like, the only way to build your business, everybody keeps saying, is if you're on Facebook and LinkedIn, or if you have an email list, or if you're putting out podcasts. And that just keeps them stuck because that doesn't connect with them, and they don't relate to that, and they feel like until they learn how to do that, or maybe pay someone to do that for them, then they're not going to get anywhere. And what I do is I speak to people like, forget about what everybody else is doing, what everyone else says you got to do. How would you have it? What makes the most sense to you? Like if you could make the rules and everybody knows the answer, it's just that, like you're saying, they're getting so bombarded from the outside that they can't connect to their own self. So I like connecting people with their selves. What would be the most true for you? And someone said, honestly, I like emailing people, or some people might say, I just like meeting people in person. And the funny thing is that really is the best way to build your business, is through all your interpersonal connections. That happens to be the best way.
Isn't that funny that ingredients is just so simple? I'd just love to explore that a little bit more if we could.
For sure. Let's dive into that.
And I think to myself, if you're doing all of these things and you realize that the essence to this is simplicity, doing what it is that you really spark with, does that in turn unlock productivity? I think it would, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, because then you're connecting with what feels genuine to you, and the top thing in business is being genuine. So if I do not believe in Facebook ads, and yet I feel like I have to do it because that's what everyone says you got to do. I'm scraping together the money to make an ad I don't believe in, just to say that now I do it. It gives me the chills just thinking about that, because it's such a waste, and it's such a shame. Forget about that.
Disingenuous, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Connect with what feels best for you, and then the people get on fire. They need that permission. Like, that's okay. Like, really? I don't need to have a Facebook page? No, you don't. You don't need that. You just need to be genuine and connect with people in the way that feels best for you, and that is the best way to build your business.
Isn't it funny? Because we were talking, can I just interrupt there? I mentioned before how we were talking about when people have websites or they don't have websites. It challenged my way of thinking when I heard that. And I thought to myself, that is different. It's ironic almost in that, here we are saying, if you're not online, where are you nowadays as a business owner? But these I guess these belief sets that we're having in society can be challenged, can't they?
They definitely can be challenged, and I happen to, I don't know where I got this from, but definitely part of my personality is I love challenging those things. And I like challenging people, like, first of all, just experiment with it. See what it feels like to not have your website, not to do those things. See like what that does for you, because if you want to, continue doing what everyone else is doing, you can always go back to that. Right. That's not going to leave, and you're not going to lose by doing what feels right for you and connecting genuinely. And that's what, just to bring it full circle to what you originally asked me. So if I go in clearly knowing that I'm not a social media guy, I just meet people in person. So when I go to my family meetings or when I'm hanging out with my friends and they ask me, oh, so you must be advertising, and I could say, no, I don't do that. And then they might laugh. They might say, oh, how do you expect to make any money? But I'm so clear on what's right for me that then it doesn't let the cobwebs even start forming, because I don't let that in.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
know clearly my path. I'm committed to this path. And that's why it's so important to commit to your business and working with it, that you're either having a coach work with you, or you're having some sort of program that you're going in a direction. It's something that's going to keep you in direction, because it nowadays world is meant to distract you from that
Uh,
in any way that it can. So
and it's
you're going to need some sort of support to that.
magnificently good at doing that, isn't it? There's just so many distractions everywhere. I think that what you're saying is that because we've unwrapped and taken away all these, I guess, superfluous layers of stuff as entrepreneurs
Yeah.
that we think we have to have in our business, anybody who's listening to this call would suddenly realize, hey, you know what? Maybe I could do it with, three main moving parts within my business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And well, what brings up what came to mind when you were saying that is, I'm part of a group, a Facebook group with like over 6,000 coaches on it,
Mm-hmm.
and one coach set this up so beautifully, on the wrong side of it. She wrote, okay, so I just got my certification. Um, I've got my website all set up. I printed out all my business cards. She had like the list of everything you could possibly think of that you might need. Everything. And I didn't even know the list was so long until I read it. I said, wow, there are a lot of things you could do. And she's like, I've got all this stuff. And what else do I need to do to get clients? She still had a question.
Wow.
And I just commented very simply. I said, you need to connect with people. You're not doing that. You're doing everything but that. And either she realized that or she didn't. But to some people, that's like a smack in the face. It's like, wait, what? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
What?
and this, and I keep thinking about the My Future Business audience, RFOL, in terms of,
Yeah,
this mindset. Let's say they had, you're coaching somebody and they've just started out. They've got one simple product, and
yeah,
their mindset is keeping them back, and maybe they're not even believing in themselves. You talked about this in your
mm,
bio about self belief, that they could actually offer more, do more, serve their customers more. What do you
yeah.
say to people that are in that frame of mind?
What I say is I just did a teleconference. I think it was a week ago. This traveling yesterday totally messed up my week, so I don't know where we are. But I think it was a week ago,
Yep.
and it was called the Build Your Own Business Seminar. And there, the first step I told people to building your own business, and I firmly believe this, is you have to believe in yourself and in your product. So if you have one simple product, it can any product nowadays in the world, with the entire world available to you, right? You're not secluded to your city. The internet connects you to everywhere in the world. So you could sell anywhere you want. The only thing you need to do is be passionate about what it is that you're offering. And if you are not, then don't even bother starting, because people are going to feel that out. I've spoken to people that they wanted my help with their business, and I could hear it in their voice that
Yeah.
they weren't into this. And I was like, let's just get this clear. Why are you doing this?
Yes.
And the answer to that particular call was like, I was trying to make some money on the side.
Uh-huh.
It's not that much money. And I said, well, then you're wasting your time, because I can tell you're not interested. So therefore, every email you send out to a prospect, they're going to know it also. Even if they've never spoken to you. And I saw his emails. I said, this is exuding
Yeah.
not interest from you.
Yeah.
It's just coming through. So if somebody is in the mindset that they don't believe in themselves and what they have to offer, then that's the first step. What are you afraid of here? What are you not confident about? If you're afraid of being judged. And I also saw another coach post this yesterday. A lot of entrepreneurs are coming out as like this is their new career, and what are their families going to say? How are you starting your own business and stuff like that? All that stuff really has to be dealt with beforehand, because you're not going to be, no one's going to come to you. No one's going to buy your product if you don't believe in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to myself, this is just wonderful content. Thank you so much for sharing
Oh, my
with
pleasure.
our audience. And I think to myself, as a parent, just moving away from just simply being an entrepreneur, you think to yourself, hang on, I'm coaching every single day, aren't we? As parents, we're guiding our children. And, when you flip over to the entrepreneurial side, any client that you work with and serve, and that's the key word here, is, again, you're serving other people. And you mentioned it, Raphael, that the essence to all the success in your business is actually having that focus on people. Um, do you find that there's many opportunities or many clients that you work with that are way too focused on the money?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that's the key to their downfall, because if you're approaching someone and and the focus here is I need to close this client, or
Yeah, yeah,
I need to make a sale here, it doesn't work. Nobody, one, wants to be sold to, and two, nobody wants to be, dollar signs in your eyes. So
mm,
that's another thing, and it is very, very tricky, especially for an entrepreneur who is struggling with paying the bills and they have the money weight on them.
yes,
And what I love, and I address this, I know coaches specifically struggle with this, and I wrote a chapter in my book, which I didn't think of the title chapter myself. I read this in a different coaching book, but it's called if you need, like bolded,
yep.
a client, then you need a job.
Uh,
If the person that you're speaking to holds the key to your bills this month, then that's not going to work. And they're going to know that. So go get a different job. Go
yeah.
make go make minimal wage, whatever you need to do, until you can focus on people and your product in a genuine way that people can be okay with saying no.
Yeah,
Because if there's no option for them to say no, they're not going to say yes.
that is some true gold there. I'd love to talk about your book now, if we could, The Coach's Key to Client Creation.
Sure.
When was the moment in time that you said to yourself, you know what, there's a book here and I need to write it?
It's funny because this book did not have that moment. This book, it started when I was talking to a coach friend of mine, and I was all like, I was not a book writer, and she said that if you're if you have something to say or to write, then just write it. It doesn't have to be, she called it inspired action. And it just resonated with me. I was like, I'm speaking with all these people, and we're running into they happen to be coaches. I'm speaking to all these coaches, and they're running into the same problems, and I'm having the same conversation over and over with them. So I started writing those out, and I decided to just, kind of make a commitment, like a verbal commitment. I said, I'm
Yeah,
just going to write this book. And it didn't feel real for me at all. And I didn't put like the pressure on myself. It
yeah,
wasn't something that I have to make happen. I was kind of just like, if it happens, it happens. And I just wrote out the conversations, and it was really, really, good stuff. I did give up more than once in middle, because again, it didn't feel like something that needed to happen. I was like, everything that I know is because of books that I've read. So, it's nothing really new,
yeah, yeah,
but the exact moment in time when it hit me that you don't have to have something new in order to make it in a book, because everybody hears things differently.
yes,
And that happened when I was speaking with my coach, that really dawned on me, that the same way I hired my coach, and not anyone who's been coaching 10 times longer than him, is because that connected with me, right?
yeah,
And the same way that whoever I'm going to be speaking to is because my voice speaks to them. And that was really the moment in time that I realized everybody has something that's going to connect with them. So no matter all the information and knowledge that I've gained from my mentors and coaches, it has to come through me for certain people.
yes,
And that was the moment the when all this is in the introduction to my book, that I realized that, and it kind of was me giving myself permission to write the book. And I said, whoever this helps, it helps. And I don't need anybody who it's not going to help to read it,
yeah.
right? And I'm happy to suggest them to other people or other books.
You have
Um,
other options.
right, exactly. And And I want to tell you that when you speak about the moment that I realized I had a book inside of me, really it's right now my second book
Oh,
that I wrote. I started writing literally the minute after. I'm just looking here. I have a picture of it also. The minute after I published that book, this new book bubbled up inside of me, and this one was really, I was really, really passionate about, and it was exactly what I'm telling you now, that realizing that everybody has a voice
yes,
and everybody has people that need them,
yes,
and the only thing that stops us back is our fears and our limiting beliefs that stop us, like, who am I to write a book, and who really needs me,
yeah,
and all that stuff that I put into my second book. It's called Speak Up. It is not available yet. It is in the editing stages.
yes, yes.
But this one I felt inside of me. My other book happened naturally, but this one, it just poured out.
I can,
When
I just have to stop you. You were talking about exuding confidence and energy and, a passion about certain things. From the moment we started talking about your books, your face lit up. I could tell that this is, quintessentially what we've been talking about for anybody who wants to be a coach or better in their business. These are the things, the one thing that sparks you.
yeah,
It's just a wonderful phenomenon.
yeah, it's absolutely 100%. I fully agree with that. And um, and like I said originally, it's people sometimes need that permission to know that that's an option.
Yep, yep, absolutely.
And that's a lot of times when I'm helping people with their businesses or transitioning, it's framing the question in mind. If you didn't have any money fears, if you didn't need anything to happen, what would you love to have happen?
Yes.
And I just spoke with someone this past Friday, and he said, I haven't played music in years, but I love music. I wish I could get back into that.
So
And I said, why is that not
why are you
happening
not doing
now?
it? Yeah.
Why can't that be an option? And it came down to his self-confidence. He said the reason is because I don't like how I look on stage.
Wow. It's a perception. It's a belief.
Yeah,
it's all those things.
right. And in the conversation, he kept on trying to veer back into the actions he had to do to get the music out there. I said, it's not actions. As soon as you believe in this, that this is that, first of all, it's your perception that you don't like how you look. Everybody else could. And based on a lot of things that I wrote in my book, my second book, that if you really sat and thought about it, everybody could benefit about you, regardless of what you think about, right? If I have, of what you think of yourself, if you have something to put out to the world, nobody cares what you look like, or if you have a website, or if you're on social media. We're looking at what you're offering, right? And if you can get that and shake off all of those self-limiting beliefs, you'll know exactly what to do to make your business successful or where to go from there. But if you know where to go, if you know the things you need to do and you don't believe in yourself and your product, then it doesn't make a difference. You're not going to do those things.
Yeah, there's some really uh, great bits of sage advice there for everybody who's on the show today. Now, what's coming up for you in the near future? Are you still coaching right now? Do you have plans
Yeah.
for what's happening?
I'm still in the midst of building my coaching career, so I'm fully into that. I mean, my book is being coming out soon. I'm super excited about that. Um, and that's what's going on for me now. I just before this call, I got off the phone with my coach, and I have a bunch of new ideas for me to really up my practice, and I'm excited to execute
Take
that.
it forward.
Yeah,
So, look, if people want to find your wonderful book, the first one, where are they likely to
yeah.
find it?
This book is available on Amazon. It's actually only available on Amazon, as it
Hmm.
was self-published through Amazon. So that's the only place you can get it.
Yep. So
And
I will be most definitely making the links back to that book. and
Yeah.
through Amazon. And you know what? I've had so much fun having you on the My Future Business show. It's just been an absolutely wonderful treat. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun. I really like talking about this stuff. So thank you for giving me that platform.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.